list that I've got here. Okay, slideshow, got it. Okay, right, so this list is basically, I'm just going to see if I can see my live chat as well. This list is really imperative to the healing of complex PTSD. And there are 14 steps for managing the inner critic and 13 steps for dealing with flashbacks. And flashbacks basically are when you get triggered and you go into the fight, flight, freeze, fawn response. And the beauty of knowing this knowledge, and you can also get a copy of this, all of the links are going to be below the video. What you'll find is that bit by bit, you will begin to evolve. And the more mindful we get, that we will evolve spending most of our times in flashbacks. But first of all, we need to understand what's going on. So I do suggest you get the book. And then I'm going to run through these 13 steps, which are imperative to healing CPTSD. Okay. We have 13 steps here. So I'm going to read through them. And if you're watching, you can, if you've got any questions, you'll be able to, I'll see you in the message box, but I'm going to go from here. So 13 steps for managing flashbacks. And what I'm going to say, on his webpage, he's got, it says focus on the bold print. So you can't see the bold print here, but I've got a list which is in PDF copy, which I'll be able to share with anybody that wants it. You just go over to my like page on Facebook and I'll be able to send you a PDF or email me, because having the particular bits in bold means that we don't have to read the whole thing when we go into flashback. We can carry this list with us and it makes it really easy to access and understand what we're doing. So the first thing is, he says, say to yourself, I am having a flashback. And flashbacks take us into a timeless part of the psyche that feels helpless, hopeless, and surrounded by danger as we were in childhood. And the feelings and sensations you are experiencing are past memories that cannot hurt you now. And we need to know that, but it's a process to getting to that point, to realizing that what happened to you in childhood is no longer, it can't hurt you anymore. It can't physically hurt you. We're able to stand up for ourselves. Number 2, he says, remind yourself, I feel afraid, but I am not in danger. I am safe now, here in the present. And remember, you are now in the safety of the present, far from the danger of the past. And it's very difficult when we are healing to get this immediately. But the more we read this book and the information, the more we're going to evolve, and we're going to be able to quickly say, I'm having a flashback, which will stop us going into full-blown flashbacks. He then says, number 3, own your right need to have boundaries and remind yourself that you do not have to allow anyone to mistreat you. You are free to leave dangerous situations and protest to unfair behavior. So we have to realize that we do have a say in, you know, our boundaries and what we like and what we don't like. If we don't like a situation, we can leave it, or we can, you know, basically express what we need another to hear so that we feel safe. And clearly some situations will be dangerous, so it's better to just leave them. Number 4, speak reassuringly to your inner child. The child needs to know that you love her or him unconditionally and that she can come to you for comfort, protection when she feels lost and scared. So I've done a lot of inner child work for myself, and I protect my inner child fiercely now. I don't let anybody mess with her. And guys, you can do this the same too. So what's next? Let's see. Sorry, putting my hand in front of the camera there. Right, so number 4, we've already done. Number 5, deconstruct eternity thinking. In childhood, fear and abandonment felt endless. A safer future was unimaginable. Remember, the flashback will pass, that it has many times before. So we have to realize anxiety and panic attacks, they pass. And then they don't stay, we don't stay stuck in them. It's really important we get to understand that. And this is why this list is so brilliant to have or carry with you. Number 6, he says, remind yourself that you are in an adult body with allies, skills and resources to protect you that you never had as a child. And feeling small and little is a sure sign of a flashback. So when you feel that small and you feel little, we know that we're adults now, so we know that we're probably having a flashback and we know what to do and how to heal that. He says 7, ease back into your body. That fear launches us into a heady worrying or numbing and spacing out. Gently ask your body to relax. Feel each of your major muscle groups and softly encourage them to relax. Tighten musculature sends unnecessary danger signals to the brain, so you can breathe deeply and slowly. Holding the breath also signals danger. So we want to make sure that we're not stopping, that breath from flowing. Something you can do, I did do a modality called fast EFT. You can tap, because the tapping will bring you out of that fight flight and it will allow you to breathe. So just tapping on your collarbone works for that one. He says, slow down. Rushing presses the psyche's panic button. So when we see ourselves getting into that state, we can know that we can slow down, okay? We can find a place to unwind and soothe ourselves. So whether that's sitting down somewhere, if we're out, we maybe can just sit on a park bench or, just find somewhere to sit down and just breathe for a moment. He says if you're at home, or for instance, you could wrap yourself in a blanket, hold a stuffed animal, lie down in a closet or bath, or take a nap. And he says, feel the fear in your body without reacting to it. Fear is just an energy in your body that cannot hurt you if you do not run from it or react self-destructively to it. And that's really important to know as well. Number 8, resist the inner critics drasticizing and catastrophizing. Use thought stopping to halt its endless exaggeration of danger and constant planning to control the uncontrollable. Refuse to shame, hate, or abandon yourself, and channel the anger of self-attack into saying no to unfair self-criticism. Use thought substitution to replace negative thinking with a memorized list of your qualities and accomplishments. So you could write down the top 5 best qualities about yourself, or the 5 loveliest things you know about yourself, and get used to that list to remind yourself how safe you are now, and your intelligence and your beauty and all of the rest of it. Next, he says, number 9, allow yourself to grieve. Flashbacks are opportunities to release old unexpressed feelings of fear, hurt, and abandonment, and to validate and then soothe the child's past experiences of helplessness and hopelessness. Healthy grieving can turn our tears into self-compassion and our anger into self-protection. So we have to know that there's nothing wrong with tears, and it's really important that we realize that. And, if we feel like crying, it's okay to cry. And generally people, when they see you crying, they will soothe you as well. Generally, I found that if I start crying, people want to know if I'm okay. It's not often that happens, but sometimes you might cry in public, for instance, and it's normal. People have moments. Number 10, cultivate safe relationships and seek support. Take time alone when you need it, but don't let shame isolate you. Feeling shame doesn't mean you are shameful. Educate your intimates about flashbacks and ask them to help you talk and feel your way through them. So it's important we have people that we can talk to so that we don't, just remain in a flashback. He says, number 11, learn to identify the types of triggers that lead to flashbacks. Avoid unsafe people, places, activities, and triggering mental processes. Practice preventative maintenance with these steps when triggering situations are unavoidable. And number 12, figure out what you are flashing back to. Flashbacks are opportunities to discover, validate, and heal our wounds from past abuse and abandonment. And they also point to our still unmet developmental needs and can provide motivation for us to get them met. So sometimes we've got to meet our own needs and we're not meeting them. And sometimes we need other people to meet our needs. And, it's a balancing act, but we need to look at all areas of our life. Number 13, be patient with the slow recovery process. It takes time in the present to become unadrenalized and considerable time in the future to gradually decrease the intensity, duration, and frequency of flashbacks. And this is by Pete Walker, MA, Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving. Here you can see at the bottom of the page, the web page that I got this from. And I'm going to give you a bit more information now on something on this last slide. What you can do is um, understand that we are here to evolve and transcend and to move beyond the dynamics that play out in society and those that which we came from as well. We're here to evolve painful events. You can book a session with me on this link here, but it will be below the video. You can find me on Facebook again, look below the video, and email me if you have any questions. This is the 13 steps for managing flashbacks. All of these links you're going to find below. The inner critic list from Pete Walker's website, which really helps. We have to get rid of our inner critic. And you can get the book on Audible. This is the book here. I'm going to show you again. Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving. You can get this book on Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving. And currently it's free on Amazon Audio USA and free on Amazon Kindle UK. And I need to let you know that I'm not a medical practitioner and I cannot diagnose or treat any medical issues. And the content of this video is it's not intended to be a substitute for professional advice and diagnosis or treatment, personal advice on trauma therapy. So have a read of that, and there's the source material. So I'm going to stop share now. Okay, so the important thing is that as we begin to evolve this, these painful events that we've been through, let me just see, coming out of that, hope I don't lose you there. Okay, so we can begin to heal this stuff, and the way we heal it is by psychoeducation, and it basically will mean that you'll need a copy of this book to begin to help yourself. That is the way through it. Another book I'm reading at the moment, which I'm going to see if I'm going to be able to read a bit of this. I'm going to have to contact the publishers on this one or to see if I get authorization. There's a few bits from this book, which is called Trauma and the Soul by Donald Kalshed. And it's a beautiful book, and it's got some beautiful information in there that really is helpful to people that have had trauma in childhood. It really is touching my soul, this book. I'm at the end of chapter 2. One more book that I'm going to suggest for you as well is Pete Walker's book here. It's The Tao of Fully Feeling, and that goes deeper into the CPTSD and trauma. So there's 3 books you can get there, but I would look below. If anybody's watching, I thank you, and I hope anybody who's got CPTSD out there, which is a response to childhood trauma, just know that if you begin to do the inner work, and you can have therapy on top of these things, it's not just one thing that's going to resolve CPTSD. It's Pete says in this book that it takes a couple of years from this book to really grasp what is going on. And until we get rid of that inner critic and, basically get rid of that voice in our head that tells us that we're crap or we're not good enough, we've got to do the work. And if we have intimates, like people that we're intimately involved with, friendships, let them know what's going on with you, because there's a whole lot of isolation going on with people that have CPTSD, and that makes it harder to heal. We've got to say to people, I have flashbacks, I have CPTSD, this happened to me as a child and I'm struggling with this. If we hide it, then we're just dragging out the healing process. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions there. I can see 4 people are watching. The good news is, unless you comment, I can't see who is watching, which is really useful for people to know. It gives you anonymity. But I want you to look at the links below and definitely get the book. And it's free on Audible, Amazon Audible, and it's free on, that's USA, and it's free on Kindle, Amazon UK. So there's no reason why you can't get a copy of this book. And in the book, it's got 13 steps for managing flashbacks, which will begin to heal your heart and the sadnesses that you've been through, because you'll be able to see how much you've suffered and how much you need to connect in with your inner child. Timmy says, I have a recent stressful, dangerous work situation where I panicked and got quite scared. And it was only later that I thought it was an emotional response to my anxious inner child. Yeah, so the thing is, Timmy, the more we do this work, the more we'll see that we do that. Like, we get fearful about events, or we might feel we're going to be abandoned by somebody, or we might feel that we're not worthy of, having decent people in our life. There's so many things that go on because often we've gone through what's called arrested development as a child, which means that we've not been able to develop fully because we weren't allowed to show all of our feelings. And if we were abused and then we tried to stand up for ourselves, then we would have been abused more. And it's unfortunate that there has been so much abuse out there, and there is for children. I think people are probably a lot more aware and better in society now, but it still goes on. We're not free of it yet. So the people now, like myself and you, Timmy, that are doing this healing work means that we're having a knock-on effect on the other 7.5 billion of us that are on planet Earth. So that's it for today. I'm going to leave it there, and I thank you for joining me, and I'll come back over the weekend with some other, tips and tools that I think will be useful. So that's it. Okay, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Timmy, as well. Thanks for you mentioning what you said. And I'm sure, we're just going to all keep evolving the more we do our own inner work. Okay, and check me out on Facebook as well if you want to come over there and link in with me. Thank you. Catch you later.